Welcome to Backyards and Bevvies. Grab your favorite bevy, pull up a chair, and enjoy the ride. Hey, B&B fam. This podcast is sponsored to you by BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. Is there something getting in the way of your happiness? I know when I traveled the world, I had many days where BetterHelp's worldwide service of licensed professional therapists could have helped me speak to someone no matter where I was in the world about whatever was happening with my life, and with zero judgment. With their ability to match me with a therapist that best fits me, I know my mental health would have been way better back then. Believe me, I needed it. But I'm here to share a way for you to take back control of your mental health by telling you about BetterHelp's awesome services they have for you to talk with a pro about your life through their app or just online. Whether it is a video session or some simple messaging, their team is here to help. I went to check out the app for myself just to see how easy it was to use, and after a series of questions, I was told I would be able to start matching with a therapist in under 48 hours. And what is super rad is that it's affordable and they even offer financial aid too. So come join the 2 million users that have already been helped and gain back control of your mental health by visiting betterhelp.com/backyards for 10% off your first month. Remember, BetterHelp is therapy done securely online. Don't forget to use the special code BACKYARDS and let BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, help you to start living a happier life today. Welcome to Backyards and Bevvies this week.
Hi.
Your bi-weekly podcast.
Woo.
Fortnightly. So if you watch this episode, or if you watch these episodes, or all the episodes, we're on 70 now.
Woohoo.
Right? 70.
That's amazing.
So Joe Rogan's at like
in less than 2 years.
2,000 and something.
Wow.
So it's cool though when you think of these things, right? Like my point to watching it is you've probably seen me wear this jersey now for the 18th time. I do have other clothes, but Arsenal this year you were nice enough to buy me a new Arsenal kit, or at least the top part to the kit.
Yes.
And it's a black jersey. It's for my favorite English football team, Arsenal. And they have sucked for the last
a good long
years.
while, yeah.
It's been a rebuilding year for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But what's awesome about that is they got a new coach or manager.
2 years ago.
3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And this year has been their greatest year ever. And they went on a stellar run where they gave the reigning champs a run for their money.
They definitely did.
And a lot of people are disappointed that they didn't win. I'm disappointed that they didn't win. But
it's a young team, so there's all kinds of room to grow and learn, and maybe next year, maybe the year after.
Yeah.
Who knows? But second place, considering they were like at the bottom, they were terrible for so long, and all of a sudden
they weren't at the bottom.
Okay, well,
let's get that right.
They weren't in the Champions League,
which is
and we're
important.
going to be in the Champions League next year.
Yeah, we have been out there for a long run. I think they went 22 years in the Champions League, or 21 years in the Champions League with Arsene Wenger.
Wow.
So when I started thinking about what we were going to talk about today, I thought it was interesting because the other day I made a post about time. And then thinking of this Arsenal jersey, it represents a lot of things. Like it represents a new squad, time, building, all these things that are important to relationships, to businesses, to basically anything that you want to grow. You have to give time. Even children, right? Like their kids aren't going to be walking and talking tomorrow, so you have to give them time. So I thought it was really interesting, the specs that I just pulled up about me writing my first fiction novel. And I was like, wow, it's amazing. I think it was like 1,117 days, you know.
And you pulled this up because you just turned in the final draft of the book.
Yeah, exactly.
You turned in your final manuscript to the publisher.
I turned in my final personal draft that I thought was the most acceptable that I could give to the readers. And it was a lot. Well, for one, I think it was a lot because it was my first. And I had no idea. I mean, I've written book reports and I've written small little pieces.
But you haven't written like a paper or something
I've written a
20
paper.
plus years.
Easily 20 plus years. And even then, I would say that I probably paid someone else to
probably
write it for me.
half-assed it.
100% half-assed it. Went to a bar that night and drank. Yes, and that was in high school. But doing it again, though, reigniting my fire for reading and writing and all those things, there was a little bit of like a growing curve that I had to give myself time, and that was all I could do is give myself time and just write and write and write. And each time that I put something down, it got more natural. I was like, okay, I like writing. I actually do. But then it was, well, now I need to work on grammar, punctuation, spelling.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Word is an amazing program.
Yes,
and,
it is.
You know, I was able to utilize that. But even then, it's still, you like, just to get into the ballpark, you still have to kind of put something down that's like legible.
Yeah. Yes. You need to be able to actually tell the story, have it translate.
And the only way that I was able to do that was over time. And so I thought it was very interesting for me to just share those details, though it gave it as like literally 3 years to the day, 100 and
right. You didn't spend all of this time on it, but a lot of your time.
But I would wake up and I would think about it. I would spend my day thinking about it. I'd go to bed thinking about it. And then, in between everything else that we were doing, building a family and all this other stuff, I was thinking about it. So it really was 1,117 days of really putting forth effort into something that I wanted to grow. My third child.
Yeah.
Our third
much.
child.
Yeah.
Because you're my manager.
Yes, I am.
And you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
We will have some news coming shortly.
Yes.
Just not today.
Not today.
We're talking about time today.
Yes.
No news. This isn't a news program.
Just time.
Yeah. We don't talk to the news here.
No.
But I did mine. And so today when I was thinking about Arsenal and the time that I did and wearing the jersey, I was like, well, how long have you worked at the management place where you work? Because you started as an executive assistant there.
Yep.
And we talked about this on
my whole, background episodes. Yeah.
But we didn't really dive into time. We just okay, so you've been in it a long time. So I pulled up stats for you. So you started February 26th. 21.5.
Yeah, 2015.
Wow.
Long time ago.
2015. I don't even know where I was. Somewhere in the world.
Somewhere.
But you have been there, so these are your stats. 3,012 days.
Wow.
8 years, 3 months, 1 day.
Yep.
99 months, 1 day. So,
99 months.
It gives all the
almost 100 months.
Yeah, it gives all the different calculations, which is kind of cool. Units of measure.
Yes.
260,236,800 seconds. Well, that's changed now by the time I entered this.
Yes, by the time you entered this in, that's different. But that's pretty crazy. It's a lot of seconds.
4,337 minutes.
Wow.
72,288 hours.
Crazy.
And 430 weeks and 2 days.
Wow. And due to the nature of what I do for a living, the majority of that time was actually spent working.
Yeah, you could subtract, let's see, maybe 100 vacation days. It's about
There's
equal.
no way I took that many vacation days.
Well, yeah. I mean, not that you took them, but you, your Christmas, your 3 weeks.
Yeah, we get some time off.
Those are
but still, the thing is that even when we have time off, I'm still working. I'm just not at the office.
I know, but I mean...
So I guess you could subtract sleeping.
I'm going to subtract the winter days. You tend to get at least those pretty quiet.
Yeah, they're usually not too bad. This past one was busy.
I'll say... But even if you calculate in all the stuff, that's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, let's say probably you said 72,000 hours. I mean, probably half of that. If you take away sleeping and time off and all that kind of stuff, half of that I probably did spend working. So that's 36,000 hours.
It's a lot
of work.
Yeah. Now, I made a comment before we started this, but your boss has been at this since he was 14,
Since he was
you
14.
said,
Yeah, he
right?
started as a touring musician. He played pedal steel when he was 14 years old. So if you count him actually being a musician, because, I mean, you're obviously
in the business,
learning and you're in the business, from then until now, I'm pretty sure I know his age, but, I mean, basically he has like 52 years of experience.
It's wild.
I mean, longer than I've been alive by like 13 years. Yeah. And, you know, I think it just goes to show that he is absolutely an expert in the field. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I love working with him so much, is because I learn something new from him like almost every day. Just in having general conversations or seeing how he handles things or what he thinks about things. And not that he knows everything or is like always right or, you know, on the ball, but he knows certainly way more than me and than a lot of people. Sometimes
it's not about being correct, but it's about just being in the vicinity of being correct, right? Because you can always shift what you're going to do, but if you're not even in the ballpark, then you have no chance of winning the game, right? So I mean, he's been in it so long. If you were to do like the Think and Grow Rich idea, 10 years or 10,000 hours, he's 5 times.
Yeah, he's 5 times. He's an expert to like the 5th power.
Yeah, which is incredible though. But that's what makes people in his position so great at what they do, but also so knowledgeable to share stuff with the younger generations, which I think he's doing with you.
Absolutely.
At like a very, very cool level. He's not just straight up like, this is how you do it by. He's like letting you sometimes even go into the room and potentially fail to only go to him and be like, these are my thoughts. And then he works with you, which I think is such a cool move on his part.
I totally agree. I mean, I think that's why I view him not just as a boss, but as a mentor and a friend and stuff like that, because of how he lets me and the other people that I work with, he really lets us kind of spread our wings. And, you know, he doesn't want us to fall completely off the cliff. He's given us like a parachute, but, you know, he lets us figure it out. And thankfully, we all respect his opinion enough and know that he knows what he's talking about, that we go talk to him about things. And
well, when you've seen the industry go from so many different, you know, like avenues, it's hard not to be like, well, I've already seen this play out once. I know how this is going to end, but you're more than welcome to try it out for yourself. But
well, and also, I mean, the music industry has changed so dramatically since he was 14, since he was 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. But he has stayed
relevant,
extremely successful through all of those changes.
Super cool.
So he's obviously learning himself and growing and making adjustments. And
well, I think a big part to that, like especially someone that's been in the game that long, one of the one of the coolest things you can do for yourself is surround yourself with great, not like-minded people, but great-minded people.
Yes.
Because then you absorb what they have to say as well. So though you might not be the hippest person to what TikTok has to give you, if you want to build your influence, you would surround yourself around people who understand the TikTok algorithm a little bit. You know?
Absolutely.
Even if you never get what it is, you're like, well, how about this?
Absolutely.
This is what I would like to do. And then they go, okay, this is what you need to do. And you go, okay, cool.
Okay, great. Yes.
But that's what we're doing with this book, though, in a way, is we're not acting like we're experts at it. We're asking all the questions.
No, we're definitely not experts.
We're going around going, okay, well, we have a product, and we have a really cool product that's different. We view this as something that can really go the distance.
Yeah.
But how?
Where
do we start? And we were blessed enough to get one great recommendation. And since that, she has been just a guiding light in a lot of our where we go and how we're thinking about the bigger picture. But what's even, I think, more dope is that we're asking just people in our industry, like, hey, or your industry, I should say, not mine anymore.
I mean, you were in it long enough. It's still yours.
But I think we're about ready to cross the boundary where it's almost like the rap country
the melding of the genres,
the mashup,
Yeah.
because we're taking written stuff that typically is, left over there, like there's fiction, there's action, adventure, but what we're doing is we're taking ideas that people have been very successful with in the music world, like with marketing and even it's like music, movie, TV, and then book, and we're taking all three and we're kind of like trying to push them all together in this really cool blend of marketing and brain thinking, and why was this successful with this? And I think that that's where expert people, though, that's why your boss is so successful, is because he hasn't just stayed in one lane.
Right.
He's taken new avenues on multiple occasions and been like, well, if this person's going to be the next, then they have to do something that's different from this person.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think that's one of the things that I'm actually the most excited about with getting your book published and released out into the world for people to read, is being able to approach the marketing and release tactics from an angle that is not about having experience in the literary world.
Right.
Like our publisher, obviously, tons of experience in the literary world.
Totally.
But we're bringing additional viewpoints and ideas based on our experience in the entertainment industry, which is hopefully going to make the release of this book something bigger and more exciting than what would normally be done.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that that's where that time, though, we've had so much time to sit here, not sit here, but we didn't just rush into this and say, okay, let's get this book out and put it into, because we had a chance to just put it into KDP Publishing, which is Kindle Direct Publishing. Which is still...
we could have gone that route.
Well, I think we still are going to utilize...
It'll be part of it,
Kindle, but we're not going to solely base our entire project on that. Which is so cool, because I think when you rush at stuff, you tend to miss the mark. You might hit the board, you might hit the dartboard, but you're not going to get in the center where the bullseye is.
Yeah. And
that's where people and time... you have to coexist together, because nothing comes quick, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole, like we hear it all the time, but so many people are like, I just want to win the lottery.
Yeah. Like, come on. It's like, yeah, but the chances of that, I wish we had that stat pulled up that you had the other day about your chance of winning the lottery.
Oh, that was such a cool TikTok.
That was so cool. We'll have to find that again and maybe like post it on our Instagram or something.
173 billion.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
173 billion.
Yeah.
You were more likely to...
I think you were more likely to get struck by lightning than you were to win the lottery.
And in a plane, I think in a plane crash.
And be in a plane crash, yeah, which is also super rare.
It's like 1 in 100 million or something like that.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
That was a crazy TikTok, because they said that the and this is time. This was the only way that they could demonstrate this was across time. And they said you could shuffle a deck of cards to like the umpteenth time or something like that. It was like you will never... Okay, that's what it was. You could never shuffle a deck exactly the same.
Yeah, it's because there's so many variables, because there are 52 cards. There are so many possible combinations of those cards that... Your
chances of shuffling the deck the exact same way.
The exact same way. It's impossible, basically.
It was like 1 in... The number...
It was like trillion to the 30th power, which was a word that I'd never even heard before in math to describe how big a number was. And then they talked about if you wanted to like actually understand the gravity of how big that number is, it was like talking about like wrapping the number around the earth X number of times. And I mean, all this craziness.
The crazy one that blew my mind was that it was, you could take a grain of sand from the Sahara and put it into the Grand Canyon, fill it one time, then put a piece of paper on the ground and go, or from the surface of the earth. And each time you did that, you put another piece of paper. So each time you took a grain and filled took a grain one by one and filled it in time, started a timer. It was crazy. Like,
it was crazy. We'll have to find it and post it on Instagram. Yeah, it was
But at the end,
insane.
basically, they said that you would still have room. You'd still have time, and you'd still have numbers, and paper would have stretched from the earth to the sun. I think they said.
Just wild.
It was incredible. But that's that really, really crazy thing that I think like so many people are like. I personally I'm 40, right? I think time is on my side now. When 20 years ago, I was thinking time was against me.
True. It's all about your perspective.
Even though time is it's like right now my chances are shorter to live and utilize my time, right? Because like, well, I'm getting closer to what the typical age is that you die, right?
I mean, you're like halfway through, basically.
But at 20, I was more worried about time than I am now. Now I'm like, I feel freer because I utilize my time
more wisely.
Yeah.
I'm
not, and
you're actually doing something you really love, that you're passionate about. You're fulfilled in your life, which makes a big difference. You know, you're not chasing. You're not running after something that you don't even know what you're running after.
You know what's crazy?
You actually have an end goal, and you're getting closer and closer every day.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about that?
What?
Getting closer to that end goal. Every day that I wake up, you know what? I'm never bored. I'm never bored.
That's awesome.
I don't even, like, someone said the word the other day, and I was like,
when was the last time I was bored?
I honestly can't think of the last time I was bored.
That's amazing.
Because
that's such a special and incredibly like that's a privilege to be able to say something like that. Like, who can say that? Like, absolutely. I love what I do so much, and I get to be so creative that I am literally never bored at my job.
But it's not even then. It's like, God bless you.
Thank you.
Get it out. But it's not even the job. It's then the home life. Then it's the children. Then it's the friends. Then it's the family. I can't honestly think the last time I just sat somewhere and was like, shit, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Like, today sucks. I have nothing to do. For at least 3 years, let's just put it together.
Having kids definitely eliminates that. 100%. There is always something to do.
Well, but when they nap, I mean, I could be bored then.
You could. That's very true.
I could be bored when they go to bed, but I'm not. I mean, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I take time and I put it on my side. And I don't think that that's something that gets talked about when people want to go for something. As you know, I can look back to when I was a kid, and no one ever talked to me about the idea of time. They just said, shoot for that. Yeah, go for that. You can be great. Just start working at it. It's like, I've been working on it for a week now, and I'm not good at it.
Yeah. So
I'm doing horrible at this. Like, I'm not well at anything. I stink. But that concept is so easy to say to someone when you don't watch someone put forth the effort either, you know?
Right.
Like, okay, for the last, 20 years, I've been watching my dad grow his business. Just taking time.
Yeah.
And
look at it now.
But now he's trying to sell it. Starting to be successful, you know? But he went through so many ups and downs. But I was already I was already like out of high school when he was basically doing that. So, you know, like I don't think we ever had that talk where it was like, this is what success and time and perseverance and sacrifice. It was just like, yeah, well, if you want to be good, go outside and practice every day. Okay. Well, I went outside for 5 minutes and I practiced.
Yeah, but 5 minutes isn't enough.
Still not good.
Yeah. So I think that's why your Kobe book that you got is so inspiring.
Oh my gosh,
that book is really cool.
Yeah, I got that. I'm Mamba. I've always been a San Antonio Spurs fan, and I hated Kobe. I shouldn't say I hated Kobe.
He was the quote unquote enemy of your sports team.
He was just so good that it was so hard to beat him.
Yeah.
For a reason.
You know, the anniversary of his death was the other day?
I know.
It's crazy. Him and his daughter, of course.
The guy he was on a different level, but it's because he took time to do all those things. And I think that's why, like, right now, time has been such on my mind lately. And what we're doing, it's important that I think about why I'm doing it. And during my day, you know, I really try to eliminate things that aren't valuable to my time. Even people, you know, unfortunately, there's people in my life that...
That's part of growing up.
Well, yeah,
you just have to eliminate, unfortunately.
Value is such an important thing that I should be able to give to someone and someone should be able to give back to me.
Yes.
And it doesn't always have to be a monetary value. It can be emotional. It could be supportive. It could be anything. But that's what it takes, though. And, you know, like, that's why I think it's important that you have to evaluate constantly what you are doing, what you're intaking, what you're not intaking, what you're working. You know, like, okay, cool, I worked out for 4 hours, but it did nothing for me.
Right. Like, well, did you work out hard, or did you, like, lay around and, like, kind of work out?
Or were you on your phone just kicking your leg?
Yeah, like, me.
I don't know why I'm still fat.
Yeah. I worked out this morning.
My jeans don't fit. BK.
Help me.
Did you sew my jeans shut? I can't get into them.
Perhaps.
But yeah, I don't know. I want to see... I think the other part to it is that with me wanting success on my own, I demand that the people around me are successful too, and they're not wasting their time.
Right.
You know, so like I want to see my friends and I want to see my family do just as well as me. So I probably demand high expectations out of people.
Yeah.
And you, even the cats.
Yeah.
Like, don't be waking up like that.
The cats. Hot mess. Hot messes. One of them that y'all can't see. He's
screaming.
Always so mad when we're outside filming this podcast because all he wants to do is come outside, and he is just giving us the evil death stare.
Well, here's another good one for you. Speaking of podcasts, we went from having like hour-long episodes to 30 minutes because we valued our listeners' time too.
Yes.
So us talking about just on and on and on.
Yeah.
Wasn't fair to them.
Better to get to the point.
Yeah, and so I think the point of this episode is time. Time management is so valuable in life, and it's so valuable in how you have a relationship with someone, how you have a relationship with your work, how you have a relationship with just the universe in general. Remember, because like matter matters, right?
Right.
So like matter is spelled the same way as like
as
what
matter.
matters.
Yeah.
So it does matter, like what you do and the vibes that you put out and the energy that you dispense. And so what's the is it Newton or one of those really smart dudes, they were saying one time, you know, like energy never goes away, it just changes forms, right? So, you know, if you're always putting out negative energy, then everything's
just going to keep coming around.
The negative time around you as well is going to be negative because you're expelling negativity into the world as opposed to being...
Which is going to affect other people
positive.
And make them negative, and it passes along. It's like that butterfly effect.
Yeah, so if you're positive about what you're doing and your energy and who you're spending your time with, then, you know, more than likely the positivity around you will be high.
Yeah.
So it's all those things. And so when you think of time and, you know, you know me and conspiracy theories and time and math and distances. And
yes,
I made you watch that pyramid thing last night.
Super intrigued by that.
I learned something on that video too. I didn't know that the corners each point to true north, south, east, and west.
Yeah.
And
crazy.
then it's true north to under
3/60ths of a degree.
Yeah.
I think is what it said last night.
Crazy. So that means that the aliens that built that
or the civilization that was around that like now lives in the center of the earth, or they're the ones living in the Marianas Trench at the bottom of the ocean. They're the ones flying the UFOs around, like just keeping tabs on all of us running around like idiots. Like, we were in your spot 1,000,000 years ago.
Oh. Peasants flying around.
Peasants.
Flying around on planes.
In airplanes. We can fly around by ourselves.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It's totally true. I believe it all.
Probably so.
But all that stuff, I don't know, it's so intriguing to me. And time, it's there. It's not going away. It's continuing to... I'm watching a clock right now as we do this. And so let's go spend some time as a family today. And we will wish you all hopefully by the time this comes out, it was already Memorial Day. So
yes,
hope
you had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend
and celebrated it in memory of all
the veterans who have sacrificed for all of us.
Yeah, it's very important. So we salute all of you.
Thank you so much.
And
active duty veterans,
yeah,
those that have passed on.
100%.
We are beyond privileged to get to live in this country.
Spend
and
my
to be
time doing
defended by people who are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice.
Cheers and bottoms up to that.
Cheers and bottoms up to that. See y'all soon.
Thank you all so much for your time.